Welcome to blaquespan. How y'all doing today? As y'all can see from the title, it is about to go down. I'm going to be discussing Dane Calloway and Judge Joe Brown getting into it. Y'all, y'all, y'all. Y'all know I love Dane. He's the one that put me on a lot of my indigenous knowledge. I already knew that I was indigenous and that I wasn't from here, but he put me on like tribal rights, retracing your ancestry and stuff like that. He kind of put me in a situation to put other people on. Because I was raised knowing my history, but how do I tell other people theirs? You know what I'm saying? He gave me names, dates, land grabs, acts of Congress, things of that nature that you really need to know. So, so he got into it with Judge Joe Brown. This is gonna be a two-part series because I want to cover the entire video. Because we have to kind of watch. Okay, no disrespect to any of the ancestors, but we have to watch our ancestors because they're from the same corrupt pot that corroded us. They were misled, and then they misled us, which is causing us to be the blind leading the blind. Now we're misleading our youth, but we're trying not to now. Now we have parents telling their children they're indigenous, and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like poison ivy. You know what I mean? Where we're itching and feeling the effects because they got us touching the same poison note that fucked up their mentality. You know what I mean? Like the interracial dating thing. Nobody told black men in the 1800s not to interracially date. You want to know how I know? Because those three Supreme Court cases where black men took, and this is before the white man and his biracial white wife in Virginia. This is before Loving versus Virginia. We talking about the 1800s and the early 1900s to the mid 1900s. The last case that I found on her channel was 1964, where you have black men going to the Supreme Court. Now you in the middle of getting lynched, robbed for your land. Black Wall Street is burning down to the goddamn ground, but you going to the Supreme Court not to get your land back that they are stealing from you in droves, in acres. But you going to get rid of anti-miscegenation law so you can fuck white hoes without getting lynched. So you can whistle at white bitches without getting killed on the corner. Right? And we're going to allow these same ancestors who was born during this time to advise us? Nah, fam. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Like that girl. Like that be saying. It's stop. So yeah, without further ado, let's bring up Chief Bethy Page. Y'all know who she is. She's the one that was like, I'm Indian. You're going to know when you see her. Let's see here. Blah, 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 blah. Let's take this. Move it over here. And let me put it, make sure it's in my most recent watched so that I can just click on it. Let me play some of it. Okay. Okay, so now I should be able to just go straight to it for my history. Cause it's going like they read this man, and I'm a firm believer in respecting my elders, but at the same time, like I said, our elders misguided us, especially these black men. They promoted promiscuity in black men and all kinds of things. You know what I'm saying? Our black men have been led astray by their own elders. So it ain't too much respect that I'm too many tattooed tears I'm shedding behind Joe Brown getting read like he was. You know what I'm saying? I knew when he was over there on Kwame platform that he was on some. Alright. Look at before I say something. Now we're gonna go to history. And then so I'm gonna have to go to her page. There she is right there. Y'all remember her, right? Y'all gonna know who she is. She her face. Y'all know who she is. I need to be familiar. You need to subscribe to her channel. This is her channel. And what I'll do is I will copy this link and put it in the description box too.
To be turned up. Give me.
So while she's getting acclimated, I'll be getting acclimated as well.
2, I guess. If it's okay, give me a 1. Hey, peace. Give me a 1.
Did I copy it? Okay.
It sounds muffled.
Okay, so let me go ahead and go to my live
Oh my
stream.
God, this is a new mic, and I'm gonna turn my it's saying
and
it's okay. The speakers
pin it
sound
to the
good.
comments so I can go click on that and go follow her. She's very
Okay.
knowledgeable.
This does sound like
She's
it's
crazy. I
going
love her
okay.
opinions. And then let's go back
Communications,
to the
microphone.
page.
Okay, I'm trying to fix
She's
my
so pretty.
speakers.
Okay. Now, we're going to say this. Now, we know this is an honorary, cantankerous, older man. Okay? We know this. So, watch how he's going to be talking to her. I don't like how he's talking to her in the beginning.
Can you hear me?
Hello there. I can hardly hear you if you can hear me.
I can hear you very good. You can't hear me?
You need to turn your volume up a little bit. Mine's all the way up. How are you?
I'm good.
Bethy?
I got it all. You know, Willie put this new microphone on, and he's really going to be hurt because I think he did a good job. I have the volume turned all the way up.
She's so pretty. And remind you, this is
better.
This is
better. If I put
one of our elders as well, so you know.
Sometimes you got to do that. Put it on edge in life.
I had wrote down some timestamps, but I can't find them. So, oops, we're in this together.
To join me, I really
I still have my timestamps for part 1, but not for part 2, but not for part 1.
I have to say that you are one of my favorite judges, and don't tell Judge Mathis that I said that.
Oh, don't think of me as a...
Good. So I think it is probably his device. Oh, good. Okay. Now, see, I said, are you going to run? You're not going to run. Okay, good. Because we need answers, and what perfect person to ask but a judge. Hey, you guys, smash that like button and share this. Share it on your YouTube channel. Share it on, if you have Twitter, Instagram, other platforms. Share it in your community tab if you have a YouTube channel, because this is very helpful. We don't get leaders and role models to come on our panels. We're and I'm going to start. Oh, great, he's back. Is that better, Judge?
Yes, it is.
Oh, awesome. Great.
All right, let's get into it, baby. It's about to go down now because he already about to start being honorary and cantankerous.
And just show you Noah Webster, 1828 dictionary, definition of an American, which says a native of America, originally applied to the Aboriginals or copper-colored races found here by the Europeans, but now applied to the descendants of Europeans born in America. Straight like that. And we all know that dictionaries are pretty much primary, maybe secondary resources in law. Uh-oh, did I leave out? Did I get out? Okay. We all know that. Now, my question is, and this is very hard for me, Judge Joe Brown. We were given so many identities as a race of people. When the Europeans came here, they first called us Indians. Then they changed it to colors. Then they changed it to Negroes. Then they changed it to black. And now in 1988, because of Jesse Jackson, they changed it and giving an option of calling us African Americans. What hurts us the most is, Judge Joe Brown, I was a little girl in the 1970s.
White folk didn't pick these terms. They picked colored after getting Negro. Sir Walter Raleigh intercepted.
They definitely called us Indians first before they took our name.
Some Spanish slave ships stole the cargoes and sold them dirt cheap, so he sold them down in Spanish colonies, and he said he had a load of Negroes. That's how it started. That was their term for black. The Negro most recently was at the behest of black people back in the late 30s and early 40s.
No.
I know that we decided in about the mid-60s that we wanted to be called black, and white folk had nothing to do with it. They got trendy and copied that. Then it was Afro.
See, what I don't like is how he is negating certain facts that no, white people knew we were indigenous. There was paper genocide. There was all kind of laws that were put into place, any removal acts and all kind of stuff that were put into place. So we knew we were Indians. And if oh my God, I don't know what's wrong with my phone. Is anybody else with AT&T having a terrible signal on their cellular device? Oh my goodness. But anyway, and he's like missing a lot of political, social steps that took place before we were even being called Negro. You know what I'm saying? He's missing the Racist Census Act. He's missing the Dawes Rolls, the Dawes Commission itself, the creation of the 5 civilized tribes, with the first 5 tribes to Christianize. You can't be a Christian, a Christian Indian. Ooh, excuse me, I'm tired. So he's missing a whole lot in between that. We called ourselves this and we called ourselves that. Now, during the misleading of his generation, yeah, we allowed Messy Jesse in 84 to call us African Americans and stuff like that. And yeah, during when we were prisoners of war, we were being called nigresses and nigeritos and stuff like that. But those were just descriptive terms. That's just the word black in other languages. But racially speaking, they knew we were indigenous here. They knew we were Indians. They knew we were the copper-colored original people of Turtle Island. But see, that's where he's ignorant at. And you know how old honorary people are. They aren't willing to learn. So, but let's go.
American, we came up with that term. That was from the BSU's, Black Student Unions around the country, Panther Party and such like, and other community organizations. The white media picked that up. Then we went back to being black, and then it switched over to African American. Jesse Jackson popularized that. But it was colored Negro by choice of the black folk to Negroes. Negro became black at our choice. It became Afro-American at our choice, black again. And then it went to African-American. I guess that was under the impetus of Jesse back in the early 80s. But we had been doing that to ourselves. So we kind of picked it. Like now, we use that in term, which is not.
Oh, are you there? Uh-oh. Oh, okay. Can you hear me? Okay, so here's let me tell you what the research that I've learned, Judge. Oh, your voice is blocked out, Judge. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Your voice went out. Your voice. Your voice went out, Judge. It went out. Okay. Okay. I can't hear you anymore. I don't know what happened. I think it's... I can't hear you.
Come on, put out them facts on him, baby. Because she prepared. He on his phone just talking. This ain't Kwame over here, baby.
I don't know what's going down. They don't want to get this information out. I was about to show him the Racial Integrity Act.
Show it to him, baby. Show him that paper's inside.
Oh, there he goes.
I'm back. Got cut off.
Oh, okay. So
I was just saying that the terminology that's applied to us in the last 55 years, 60, 70, 80 years has been basically what we chose to call ourselves. Mainstream media didn't decide to call us this. They resisted and were trying to maintain whatever we called ourselves last. By the mid-60s, we decided we wanted to be called black, not Negro. And then after a couple of years, it switched over to Afro-American, and then it went back to black. And then African American and now back to black. So it doesn't make any difference. It's just sort of a label. The labels modify. I don't like that N word because I think it is extremely disrespectful, and it gives me an urge to bust somebody in his jaw for saying that. So I don't like those urges.
Okay.
I don't like those urges.
So I want, okay, if you don't mind, because I don't like to give judges orders, but if you don't mind, I want to share with you information that has been researched by so many people here in our community. And what we're trying to do, we're all correcting our race identities because we do know, and from stories passed down from our grandmothers and our grannies who were forced to be silent and were actually threatened if they said that they were Indian.
Right.
Yeah, my granny, we have stories. I can tell
about being Native American Amerins, aka American Indians.
Yeah, they were punished. They were hung and beaten. I have the stories from my grandmother. And I also would like to share
the truth
with you
behind
that
lynchings, y'all. Pay attention.
I found all of the federal documents from my family, all from the federal government. I have my grandmother's death certificate. She was buried on the Indian reservation. So it was factually, I knew it to be factually true. I even corrected my race identity. Judge Joe Brown, I kid you not. When
well, my mother's a Choctaw, grandmother's a Choctaw, and great grandmother's one too, and I know
because you do not look
2 years old.
You do not look one bit of African. I have to tell you that. Not that I have anything against
I'm sorry.
African.
I'm 28% Yoruba, and that comes from both sides of the family, or 3% from the.
This is the thing about these genetic testings. Number one, unless they have chronologized, I'm using that word correctly, chronologized the black DNA as far as indigenous people of this land, then they have nothing to compare to. That's why a lot of us don't come back. Like when you take those tests, they say, oh, you're from 5 different countries in Africa and blah, 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 blah. And you don't ever get anyone say, oh, you Chickasaw, or you're this, you're American, you're this. The only people that come back American Indian is white folk. Isn't that ironic? And some of them don't. A lot of them that think they're Indian, they come back Irish. I had one white lady on here on her channel. She said she did her DNA results on the internet, and she was like, "Well, I wonder why I don't see the Cherokee." Because you're a $5 Indian. The whole comment section had to tell her. Yeah, but you're Aruba. You're and that's a culture, not a race. That's a tribe in Africa, not a race.
Father's side, 25% from my mother's side. My great-grandfather was a Yoruba district sub-chieftain who got captured in a raid after the slave trade was over. So when he got here, they had to set him free. But I'm 1/4 Yoruba. So whether that looks like it, my grandfather on both sides, both of them are very, very, very dark.
Yeah.
And my mother
not because of the African DNA,
and my father was browner. I thought I was adopted until I realized I got that from one grandmother on my father's side. And frankly, her mother was a New Orleans fancy hoe, and her daddy was an Irishman. So that's where I got the high peel from. But it's got to do with your genetics. Get them done by one of these concerns and find out how much African you have. Most of me is African.
See?
I have no African lineage. Now, you got to let me finish my story now, Judge. You do.
No African lineage.
Now, I know you stated
genetics and lineage are two different things.
About our people suggesting to be the identities that have been labeled on us. When the Racial Integrity Act of 1924, here clearly where Walter Ashby Plecker states that and he asserted that all Virginian Indians were in fact mixed blood Negroes. Now,
they're talking about some of the 5 civilized, so-called civilized tribes: Choctaw, Chickasaw, Cherokee, Creek, and Seminole.
But no,
there was a thing where the Seminole
he didn't let her finish. So I don't like that. That's why I like when how Dane came on, because he came with that right
runaway
energy.
slaves who had intermarried with the Seminole Indians down in Florida. They were integrated into U.S. Army units at that time. Whereas those folk who
I have to disagree.
Were freed slaves or descendants of freed slaves were totally segregated.
Disagree. Please disagree.
I have to disagree. And if you would hear me out, I'm going to show you.
Now you see how he keep cutting her off?
It's not the only federally recognized tribes that this applied to. This man literally was a state registrar. And his policy, he was able to convince the 50 states to classify all Indians as colored.
Exactly.
Well, that's nice, except the Native Americans were integrated into all aspects of American
I already heard
society.
it before, but the way he broke it down made it so much easier to understand.
Of their Cherokee ancestry who were elected to Southern governorships.
Okay.
They served in the Confederate Army in non-segregated units. They served in the U.S. Army in non-segregated units, and that's a distinctively different experience from that.
Right.
That was on the heads of those who came from freed slaves or escaped
but the
slaves.
5 tribes are not from Virginia. I must tell you that. The 5
tribes are not from Virginia.
A lot of tribes in the South, and it's not just Virginia.
I'm talking about the 5 so-called civilized
They're
tribes.
not just from Virginia.
Native Americans recognize that too. Right, Choctaw, Chickasaw, Creek, Cherokee, and Seminole.
Correct. I get that. But now, we're going to get...
He should be willing to listen.
Something very distinct.
Oh, yeah, I was getting ready to comment. My bad. I forgot we was doing a reaction.
We're going to go here. And here is how we're going to prove that the Negro is the full-blood Indian.
Right. Negro is not the full-blooded Indian. I'm aware of that.
Definitely
is. DNA, Don, and you'll see what it's all about.
All right. Mixed breed families. Okay. Mr. Frank Barnett and his son, a Negro farmer near Schollshaws, who is part Cherokee Indian, Negro, and white. Now, you and I, let's think logically here. Let's use our logical heads. Frank Barnett and his son, a Negro farmer near Schollshaws, is part Cherokee Indian, Negro, and white. I didn't write this. This is in the Library of Congress.
Everything ever published in the United States of America is in the Library of Congress if it's copyrighted.
Correct. And
every single book or pamphlet.
Judge, that's why I have this link here, so they'll know that I'm not lying, because this link takes you exactly to where this is stated at. This is primary source here we're talking. I know you already know that. Now,
everything that's in the Library of Congress is not particularly valid. It's just something that's been copyrighted. So a copy of it, 5 copies.
I get that too, sir, but this is definitely...
Go ahead.
This is definitely a primary source, okay? But all we're determining here is, okay, Mr. Frank Barnett and his son, a Negro farmer near Schollshaws, who is part Cherokee Indian, which is Negro and white. We all know that Europeans came here, so that's not what made him the Indian. It wasn't the white person that made him the Indian. It was the Negro. The Negro is the full-blood Indian. Facts. And here's the pictures. Here's all the pictures. All this is in the Library of Congress. Look at this pretty little baby. Look at this little cutie poo. We are the full-bloods. Now, I'm going to take you back more. I'm going to stop sharing at this point.
Come on, Bethy, take them back.
Just get back to where you are.
Just because it's in that book doesn't mean it's lovelivenature.
I know.
That's an actual act, though. She didn't make up the Racial Integrity Act. It actually exists. See, and this is my problem that I have with the blind leading the blind. How you see how we were misled? This is the mentality of our elders at the time. That black pride baby, watch this. So we're gonna let her continue to talk while I Google the Racial Integrity Act
of the government. But I'm not going to have that.
It's not necessarily for the betterment of government. The way it works in this country, if you want intellectual protection under Article 1 of the Constitution, you copyright something. So when you copyright it, you send 5 best copies of the first edition to the Library of Congress. So everything ever published in the United States.
But we're not talking about a publication. We're talking about an actual bill. We're actually talking about legislation put forth by the government.
And I
includes a lot of crank stuff. So just because it's there doesn't mean it's worth anything.
I get that too.
So
that's factual information, because
that's not necessarily fact. That's what somebody.
So is he saying that the Racial Integrity Act is not fact? Just because anybody could copyright anything? We're talking about a law that was enacted in 1924. Now, do you see the ignorance of this all? You can see the mentality in which he has. So you can kind of see how him and Dane and Joe Brown are gonna get into it. He's so dismissive. He won't let her make a clear point or anything. He's cutting his ladies off. He's being so disrespectful to her. Even our black elders aren't protected and respected. And he's supposed to be from the era. And he's supposed to be from the era of the civilization. I mean, of the civil rights movement. You know? So apparently we won't get protected then. Damn sure won't get protected from Molly Walls or German Shepherds, whatever shepherd dog they had eating our ass up. She can't even make her point.
I know that to be more than 90% accurate, and I'm going to tell you why.
I don't agree with it.
Okay, my great aunt, my grandmother's sister, she is still alive. She is 94 years old. She is on the Dawes Rolls. She's on the Dawes Rolls. She's half-blood. My grandmother is full-blood. Their names are on the Dawes Rolls as little children. I don't know.
Well, I met these ancestors of mine, but they've been dead for a good 65, 70 years. I'm that old.
Just because it's dead, it doesn't take away the
I know, but I'm just saying it's a difference of opinion. So,
okay, but just because
different perspectives.
Okay, but if this government has this type of information on my ancestors, there's no way
it's America.
There's no way anybody's going to put me in African landmass, Judge Bro. I'm not here to argue with you, sir. I respect you. But this is the problem in our community. So many leaders have come forward to our people telling them who they are instead of being honest with them. First, we define slavery. When you look at the slave schedules, they're all Europeans coming from Ireland and other countries in the 80s. I have the records of the slave ships. This is painful. It's sort of like they told history in reverse. They said that we were enslaved and our backs were beat in the South as Negroes. That wasn't true.
It wasn't true.
Judge Joe Brown, please tell me, at what point did Africans come here
of war, and
and
white
buy
people were indentured
hundreds and hundreds of land in the...
So I'm going to say how brainwashed we are. And I think they did this just to make sure that we were still stuck on stupid. Y'all remember about 3-4 years ago where they was rewriting the history books and they were saying that slavery wasn't real and that those were foreign immigrants. That there were foreign immigrants who were actually indentured servants. And black people had a whole fit. You gonna leave us in the book as slaves? We wants the bees beat by master, and you not gonna tell us no different story. They was really trying to tell us the truth. They were trying to give us our real history, you see, but we wasn't ready for that. And I think they really did it to make sure that we still had that bullshit story ingrained in our psyche, and so that we would not be willing to hear and or accept the truth. That's what I think That's what I think it really boils down to. I don't think it was that they were really going to change the history books. I think they just they was on some bullshit, and they was trying to see how far our moms was going to make sure they were still gone. Because the more that we associate ourselves with a different last map, the more legitimate their land ownership of this country becomes. Go on, Queen Mother. Go on, speak, Chief.
Acres of land. How did my family own land in the South and were sharecroppers owning 200 acres of land?
If we were slaves.
Schedules of who worked on their lands. My ancestors are brown people. They're Indians. They weren't even part of the United States. But yet, all these black farmers own land. And they lied. How do you own land in the 1600s when you're supposed to be enslaved, coming here on a slave ship? I don't understand that. And then they tell the story, all the copper color races, when the Europeans arrived, where are they? They tried to lie and said they had the Spanish flu and died. Okay, if that's the case, if all the Indians died of the Spanish
flu is about 300 years after what you're talking about.
No, but I'm saying they're trying to say that all of the Indians died of the Spanish flu, all of them, okay?
No, they're not saying Indians died of Spanish flu.
Oh my God.
The Spanish flu hit in 1918. Actually, it originated in Patient Zero in Kansas.
No, but
it was an army cook and an army military base.
Joe Brown, in the schools and everywhere, they're trying to give that story that all of the Indians died of the Spanish flu, like kind of like today.
That's not even close to being the truth.
She knows it's not true. You see,
everybody can hear the truth.
I've never heard of it.
You see how he's listening to respond and not listening to understand. You see, like I was talking about in my previous video about that I did earlier this morning about not being the last woman standing. You see this? She's just saying that is the lie that they spun to tell the youth to keep up status quo. That's not true. No shit. She's saying it's not true. So he's saying the lie is not true. This is what she's saying, but that he's being argumentative while agreeing with her. I'm not a judge. It's just playing one on TV.
Trying to say Native Americans died of Spanish flu back 300 years ago, 200 years ago, 150 years ago.
Couldn't have been true, because if that's the case, if all the Indians died, then how come all the white people didn't die? Secondly,
who's saying that?
Oh my goodness, this is everywhere. This is what people are letting.
I don't see that everywhere. In fact, I've seen that nowhere where all of the Indians died off because of the Spanish flu. I've never seen that.
You are an incredibly intelligent man.
I know.
You know that that black people did not start calling themselves Black Africans until the movie Roots came out in the 70s.
Until the movie what came out?
The movie Roots came out with Alex Haley. That's when they started. Pushing
we were calling ourselves Afro-Americans by 1967.
See how late that
66.
But
I was in my 20s, for God's sake. I wasn't a child.
They started pushing that, and that wasn't true. None of us came from Africa. We didn't come from Africa.
That's your ancestry.
I'm a genealogist.
That is probably
I do genealogy.
What, just like most white people in America have most black white folk in America have a high percentage of African as well. They just didn't get the genetics to code for color. But most black folk in America have a higher percentage of European in them, but a higher percentage of African. That's just genetics.
I pulled the slave schedules. All of them were people from Ireland, all the European countries. I swear, I have them. But I don't want to hold to and show them. It's true. Then they get into, nobody wants to answer the question, okay, when did Africans come here and buy land in the 1700s? When? You got all these black people who are not citizens in the United States.
There were free black folk in America. Crispus Attucks.
They were Indians.
They weren't Indians.
In the South. They were Indians.
Okay, what's black folk? Black is not you see how ignorant he is and how unwilling he is to learn? They were free black folk. Okay, where the black folk came from? They were free black folk. What is black? Black ain't no race. What were those black folk? Genetically. Am I young? Yeah. What were those black folk? Genetically. See, I told you it was cantankerous and honorary. Judge Mathis would never. Okay, play.
Then Mark Vesey, who's tried to start a slave uprising, was a property-owning free black
Let's
man.
talk about slave. You have indentured servitude and you have slavery. Slavery, we could say, are prisoners. Prisoners of war. Prisoners of war, Judge Joe Brown.
Thank you.
Look, you had involuntary servitude and you had slavery. Two things. Article 1 of the Constitution addresses that. It says 3/5 of all people held in involuntary servitude or slavery shall be counted toward the apportionment of representatives in the House of Representatives. All right? You have one guy who was a French Huguenot. He was an indentured servant, a quasi-slave.
Let's talk about
is covered by Article
black judges in Louisiana and stuff.
7 U.S. presidents are his descendants. Dick Cheney is one. Vice President Barack Obama is a descendant of his. Both Bushes are. Warren Buffett, the billionaire, Brad Pitt, the actor. So it doesn't say that people who were in this condition couldn't own property. A lot of them did.
Let's talk about Barack Obama. That's your African American right there. His mama's Kenyan.
Not the way it is used. Not the colloquial use of the word. He's African and he's white.
He's African American. His dad's Kenyan.
Yeah, raised in Indonesia. But he's not what the word means. See, the word has different meanings. Like dog, man.
It only applies
to my dog, man.
Okay.
Like
you see how ignorant he is?
Black and me.
Let's talk about.
Is Judge Joe Brown a real judge? Because, bitch, at this point, I need to look it up. What school did he go to? Like, dog has different meaning. No, dog don't have no different meaning. Dog only has one meaning. We just use it interchangeably, ebonically, slang-wise. But technically, Obama is a biracial African-American. What the fuck? Okay, is it escaping? Okay, let's go. Because I'm going to break this down in 3 2-hour video. In 4 1.5-hour videos.
About slavery and servitude. Today,
why?
If everybody has a job, no, because these are the things that are harming our community. You
don't you understand that it was an evil past that we need to get beyond? We have to move on, be motivated, be angry about it.
That's not what I'm promoting, Judge Brown.
That was 165 years ago.
I get that. And believe me, I get it, Judge Joe Brown. I'm not promoting hate and division. What I'm trying to explain to you is we have a history of people who have been lied to about their history. Us.
So what? Move on.
No,
if you get lied to, understand.
No. You see this? He sound like a white man. Oh, forget about slavery. That was 400 years ago. I need to just move on. No. The lie is important because now we have to see the lie for a lie and then teach ourselves the truth. And this is silly Joe. Ignorance is for the illiterate. This lady pulled up an act of Congress and you said, oh, that don't hold any weight. You could, as long as if it's copyrighted, you can get anything into the National Library of Congress, as if she was putting up a book that was written by a biased author. Y'all see this? Well, I can't wait till Dane get here. Roll your eyes, Chief, because I'm sure rolling mine.
And you
that is the greatest division.
Now focus on right now and get yourself together. Be motivated.
If our people have a clear understanding of who they are, listen, I grew up in the hood. Just because you come out the hood doesn't mean that you're wild and crazy, ignorant, and shoot and do drugs. Okay? Let's be real.
No, it doesn't mean you're in drugs if you come out of the hood or grew up in the hood.
Okay, but understand this, Judge Joe Brown. Understand our people's position here. in our hoods. If our black men were truly understood who they were, I guarantee you that there would begin to be peace in our communities. Right now, all these religious groups have come and divided our community like crazy. The Christians came and told them you was Christians, okay? Then they said there was Muslims. Then they said there was Moors. Then they said all these different things, right? Our people need to understand their history. They were lied to. Their ancestors were beaten. When we assimilated and came off of our lands in the South, being pushed off or for whatever, we then became these Negroes. We had to come under the corporation, under a fake identity. And then, understanding this, those people that came here and gave us the King James Bible, okay, who happens to be a black European, okay, gave our people the Bible, tell them this is how you're going to learn how to act civilized. Because our people did not practice Christianity. It was brought to us here, okay? They gave us the Bible and took our damn land. That's the problem. And you tell...
Well, we didn't have much land, but some of us had a little bit.
The copper-colored races found here by the Europeans is me. And I'm not going to allow anybody to take that precious Jew from me, Judge Joe Brown. This is the problem. It's leaders like you, Jesse Jackson, and I'm not humiliating you. You guys are hurting us. You're hurting our men.
We're not hurting you. We're just saying get up off of it. Quit living in the past.
We can't do that until we
get your act together. Get your education K through 12. Get into STEM. Start focusing on finance, business, understand politics, understand the bargaining process like everybody else in the world does. Quit focusing on being a slave. Being a slave is a bad situation. Move beyond it. It's something that ought to get you very angry.
But
and we have a background of not having done what we ought to do. Slit the throats of our oppressors while we could do it. So we did it, but we can move beyond. There's no point in getting stuck in the past.
We can move beyond it, but listen, just because we move beyond, we don't turn the backs on our sons. We got to fix our sons. As women, I have a great background. I came out the hood, and I came out right. But I will never turn my back on my people. They don't know.
Who's turning back on ancestors?
When
people just need to move.
When a prestige brother like you, Joe Brown,
he was about to say need to move on.
In the position of power that you're in, and you can't communicate with the men in your community and teach them about their true history. It's Masons and everything, everybody that's paid to keep us from knowing who we are, and we're not having it. It's men. These Masons and these fraternities, they're paid to keep us silent. And it's wrong. I could have joined a fraternity in college. I didn't want to do that. It's not my life. I want my grandson.
I can't hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? All right, wait a minute.
Now, her voice may be harsh, but he can hear her.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? I think it's your system, Judge.
CynthiaG.
Oh, I'm getting this information now. Can you hear me now?
CynthiaG.
I will not sell my people out. If someone in your position, Judge Joe Brown, was to tell the truth to our men and our children, if our men know who they truly are, there will be peace in our community.
Yes.
Okay, so something's happening. Oh, y'all know I'm not stopping this. I was trying to hold it in. I was trying not to hold it in.
Oh, yeah, smash that like button. My bad. The section had to tell me that.
Okay, I'm back again.
All right. Okay, so what I was saying just now, I understand you want to push it off. Push it off. Back during those days, our grandparents only had like third and fourth compulsory school education. They didn't even understand what the hell they were doing.
Mine did.
These black Europeans came here from Europe. And also what I have, wait till we get to this. They came from Europe, handed us the Bible, and took the damn land. That's a fact.
Now, it said Desmond Tutu. And that's a quote from the late, great Desmond Tutu.
No. I have the records and the instructions when the commissioner of the Department of Interior gave an order to the census takers to give us English Bible names because our names were threatening, long, and too uncumbersome. So, like, if they came to your house to...
And threatening, long, and too uncumbersome is exactly what he said. She's quoted. She's not paraphrasing. So, Sean King, Judge O'Brien is wrong. Judge O'Brien is saying that the indigenous black people of this land is from Africa. You know, you need to go back and look at my video. You are indigenous, not African. It's probably about 2 years old, so you have to scroll a little bit. But go find it and watch that video. And then maybe come back to this live stream after you watch that video. Because you're probably not ready for this information yet. You know what I mean? Now, I'm not no intellectual answer. I'm just saying for you to, that's like a prerequisite. Because she's kind of going fast. She's going to be throwing out acts and stuff like that. Because this is more of a debate for people who are familiar with the subject. You know what I mean? So, anyway, let's get back to it. You know, or you could just go back to the beginning of this one where she kind of broke it down, but he was breaking in on the conversation. He was being very rude, so she didn't get to make her adequate points or make clear, concise statements and finish factually speaking due to him consistently interjecting. So, again, I think it would be a fair assessment at this point early on in the video for you just to go back and look at the we are indigenous, not African. And then it's like a quick 30-minute video. And then shoot back over here. I'm still going to be here. I'm going to be here all day. Even after my boat take me to lunch, I'm coming right back again, right back on it.
To take the census, Judge Joe Brown. And by the way, I'm a Brown too. That's how I became an Indian. Might find you on my tree. Anyway,
okay, good.
Anyway, the commissioner of the Department of Interior gave instructions, and I have it on the back of the census sheet, to give the Indians English Bible names because their names sound threatening. They're too long and cumbersome. So if you was a little boy, you know how we do in our community. Your name might be Joe Brown, but we calling you Bubba Skillet Boo Boo. That's your name. The commissioner didn't like that. We might call you Sharkhead because we know you could catch a shark and kill it. Or we might call you Hunter Killer. They didn't like that. That was your name. In the family, we all keep that tradition even now, nicknames. So the commissioner of Interior said, give them English Bible names. So they changed it. Your name, Judge Joe Brown, from Hookhead Judge Joe Brown to Joe Brown.
Joseph means to be fruitful and multiply.
Yeah,
that's how you fuck with Joseph
the
means.
Hebrew name, which is the same thing.
See, you see what I'm saying? And this is the same ignorant mentality that misled us during the civil rights. What all you got in civil rights was access to white spaces. Y'all check out my video, The Denial of Separate But Equal. All we got was our land taken from us, our own education system uprooted from us to where we had to depend on them for education. All we got was illiteracy, ignorance, and homelessness from the and basic economic struggle. Came all from the fucking civil rights movement. All of it. Go look at my video, Denial of Separate But Equal. Remember, when they was burning down Black Wall Street, they also burned down 2 high schools. Our high schools. So if we had 2 high schools in Tulsa, Oklahoma, we didn't have any elementary schools, any junior highs, no type of prerequisite education. All we had was 2 high schools, huh? And then they make it seem like all of our schools was in the back of churches, in the back of a barn somewhere. No, that was their schools. They had to burn down, pillage, and bomb to get our stuff. You know what I mean? And the rest of what they didn't steal from us, we handed it on over. via the civil rights movement. But let's start back. She getting serious now. Look at her face. I love this lady. Just make sure you guys subscribe to her channel.
White folks did. They took somebody
else's to the King James Version Bible. The African European that came here. Yeah, we know. And brought the King James Version
but
Bible.
We want to talk about that. We need to get back to Dambala, Cotier, and the Gumbi, the primary ancestral gods
right there.
of West Africa.
That's the problem right there. The King James Version Bible is the biggest problem in our community.
Why are we focusing on this?
Because it's important, Judge Joe Brown. You don't think this. I lived it.
Why are we wasting time worrying about
hold on real quick.
Instead of dealing with the here and now and understanding.
It's about integrity. Reversing the Interracial Integrity Act is what it's about. So right here, Chris Moss, my love muscle is throbbing, full of pride watching y'all. Okay, I don't want to take that in a derogatory way, but hopefully your love muscle is your brain, and try to rephrase things that you're saying so that it doesn't sound sexual or explicit in my comment section, because teenagers and children also watch this channel. Okay, so watch how you word things when you comment. My love muscle is throbbing. I almost cussed you out. Okay, but thank you for being here. Make sure you like and subscribe and watch how you type.
Been good to us.
You don't understand what this have done to our brown.
We know the past has not been good for us.
Okay.
Why don't we use that as a motivation to do better in the future and focus on that?
How can we do better in the future and focus on that when we can't even agree on an identity? We're going to do better in the future as the same people who don't have shit now? Black is not a race. It is not governed under any governmental authority. You cannot go back to the land of blackdom and seek solace. You don't have a black embassy here that where we can get extradited back to blackdom. You know what I mean? So it's important to establish ourselves as a race, a tribe, and a culture of people. It is important to establish ourselves as indigenous to Turtle Island. Know better, do better. The reason why you do better from knowing better is because you change your actions, your thoughts. You see? Now you see how we were led astray during the civil rights movement? Because this is the mentality. This is who we was following. This was our leader. Him and his mentality. Him and R.R. Moulton and W.E.B. Du Bois. This is who we was following. These numbskulls.
That's the problem. We're not.
We don't have to forget that we got done wrong, but let's move on so we can do something about it.
We are going to, but we have to understand and put the love back in our sons' hearts. We need to put the love back in our sons' hearts.
We need to put the sun back in our sons' hearts.
I understand. If you get a young boy trained up and dealing with masculinity, manhood, and their obligations and responsibilities, they do all right.
To know that America is, in fact, your land, that the ground and the soil that you came out of puts back the integrity in the brown man, the real full-blood Indian. And we won't have that. Because of leaders like yourself and your power. You're the reason why. Leaders like you. I want to come to you and say, Judge Joe Brown, this is horrible. All this time, I've been on my own land, and everybody's been lying to me, telling me I came from Africa. Africans don't even know that we didn't even come from there. Keep acting like something wrong with your system, bro. Because I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop.
Got dropped again. I'm back in.
I come to you with high respect and not humiliation to humiliate you. But one thing, let me tell you this. I love my brown men. I understand the conditions they're doing in our communities, killing each other every day. But they don't even have a damn chance. And I know it. You know it and I know it. But letting them know that this is their land soil, that their ancestors came on, and that their grannies didn't lie to them. before they drop dead is important because it puts you in your homeland. We are not from Africa. I feel very disconnected when somebody says, hey, you're from Africa. I know I'm not. Even Africans tell me, no, sister. We're from
well, now you're doing what
we're
you are trying to overcome. You're just saying, let's not go back too far.
And how about the fact that Africans don't even call themselves Africans? They know who they are. Oh, I'm Nigerian. They don't say, hey, I'm African. They say, hey, I'm Nigerian.
Use the term black.
They know
works.
who they are. They know who they are. We are the only ones who have been lied to about our identity. And I'm not going to hide behind this corporation's bullcrap anymore. We're teaching our people the truth, Judge Joe Brown, because I can't come to you and have you teach them the truth because you keep up the indoctrination. You say move
I'm trying to get them to be effective men and women so they get themselves out of this mess they're in. And until they start thinking like effective men and women, they won't go anywhere.
We look to
now, what's the difference? What we call ourselves? What difference does it make?
It makes a lot of difference to me. It makes a lot of difference to me, Judge Joe Brown.
Why?
Because now you don't understand the life that I received once I found out that my granny didn't lie to me. And she said, we image.
If it didn't matter what we called ourselves, why is there such a big conspiracy to lie to us and tell us that we're African? If who we are is unimportant, why call us African? Why? To answer his question with a question, like you do in the court of law. Speak, sis.
And they gotta whisper it. Well,
what does that do about motivating you to do what you need to do to make tomorrow a better tomorrow?
It took away the suspicions that I had down in my soul.
Well, I don't have that problem. I didn't get raised that way.
It was pushed.
You think you're African? You do have that problem.
Your family of slaves.
Well, what's wrong with being from Africa? Obviously, if you've got any black or Negroid characteristics, you have some African. Everybody on the planet descends from somebody.
There's nothing wrong with being from Africa, Judge Joe Brown.
But they don't go around calling themselves Africans, Judge Joe Brown.
It's a lie. I am from here. This is my land soil.
Okay, fine. You're born in the United States. You're a citizen of the United States of America. No problem.
A lot of our men, it would straighten their lives up. It would give them integrity. Do you know? That's how it feels for black people. I'm sorry that you grew up and raised up to the horizons, but it hurts when you tell your children you have a history from being slaves when it's not true. My ancestors, my grandparents owned land. It was taken from them in the Indian Removal Act. They were forced off their lands. Because we decided to vote. We decided to vote, and then their laws applied to our lands. And that's how they were able to take.
What's it? Uncle Tom? That's who he is. Now, was Uncle Tom the one that would give the slaves his cotton so that they wouldn't come up short? Or was that Little Black Sambo? He's the Little Black Sambo or he Uncle Tom. He's the snitch one. I think it's Little Black Sambo because I think Uncle Tom was the good guy. The Little Black Sambo talking about what difference does it make with the Kaiser? Well, that wasn't my upbringing. Apparently it was. If you think you're African, you sit up here and say you have all this Chickasaw lineage, yet you identify as African Americans, and you don't see how that is a disservice to your ancestors and who you actually are. He's a fucking buffoon. And this is your leader. This is y'all leader, him and Kwame and them.
All of our shit for us, and then push some of us in Oklahoma. That's painful, sir. We need the truth.
And get angry, stay motivated, and do something about the situation.
Well, we are. I'm happy to tell you that we are now a formalized tribe. And we bought land in South Carolina, which is our reservation now. But there's people that I refuse to leave behind. Our men. I love our men. I will not get highly educated and turn my back on my...
Now she man me and talking about our men. Just say my people. Because, you know, you're going to have the most resistance coming from your man talking about who he is. Because your man has his mentality. Your man was exposed to this degenerate, derelict mentality that he has. This Africanized mentality that he has.
My people, and not look them in the eye and tell them the truth. I refuse. I love my men. I don't care if everybody thinks they're beasts or animals killing each other. That's a problem in our community. It's a problem. I love my sons. I love my babies. But I will never look them in the eye and say, no, you from slaves. When you, in fact, are the real landlords of this land.
Exactly, the real landlord.
You hurt my soul.
Well, how? All I'm talking about is wherever you perceive yourself to be from, or whatever you perceive yourself to be about, be part of the solution to get us away from where we are right now. I don't care what I get called as long as it's acceptable to me.
You hurt our souls, though, sir.
I don't care what people call themselves. That's their business. But the bottom line is we're trying to get some unification here of purpose. And that purpose has got to do about correcting our current situation, which is it's not acceptable.
Sir, do you care about our pain?
I don't care. What I care about is whatever we call us, da, ba, black folk, whatever we want to call ourselves, Negroes, coloreds, Afro-Americans, African-Americans, people of color. Some of these terms are kind of melt toast, but we have to unify if we can, without violence to our best interest, because some of us are traitors, simps, pimps, informants, etc. Some of us mean us no well. However, we need to get our acts together so we can move on and get it together. We've got to make where we live better, safer, more secure places filled with economic prosperity, sense of purpose, ethics, morality, and decency. We have to be people of public peace, dignity, and order who can be brave and courageous when necessary.
And how do you think that that's going to happen?
Some of us are Catholics, some of us are Protestants, some of us are Muslims, some of us are Buddhists, some of us practice Zen, some of us are agnostic, some of us are atheists,
by
some
persuasion.
of us are not forgotten Bala, Kotie, Nagunwe, be our ancestral West African gods.
By persuasion, sir. By persuasion. If they knew better, they'd do better. And I know in your heart and in your soul, you know I'm telling the truth, Judge Joe Brown. You know it. And you pretend not to know it.
I have more on my mind in terms of pressing issues than to worry about that kind of thing from 2 centuries ago. I understand it. I have studied it at great length. However, it has served its purpose, and now I'm in the here and now trying to come up with solutions.
Before you leave this earth, please tell our men the truth. And
I have told them the truth.
Let it be one.
You are born a male. If you deal with your cojones, your balls, you are raised right, and if not, change that by modifying your own outlook to become men and do what you're supposed to do.
You can't tell a 14 and 15 and 16-year-old to be a mother.
You can. I've done it.
You can tell them. But
I've
goes on in our community.
A 14, 15-year-old, 20-year-olds as well. The manhood program works. All males, if they're not abnormal, desire to be men. They just need instruction on how to be one.
Judge Joe Brown.
And they need it imposed on them, and when you do, it works.
I cannot hide our true identity from our people. I will not do it.
It doesn't make any difference, and there is no true identity. What someone's identity is varies from person to person. And that may be more or less motivational. It may.
I did it. Cultural and racial identity does not vary person to person. Your personality varies person to person. You say you know what? I don't like those people who talk so smart but are so stupid. You know what I mean? Like you have all these wise, whimsical phrases, and you know all these SAT 6-letter words. You know you can spell supercalifragilistic, expialidocious, but everything you're saying is not one complete coherent thought. You're constantly speaking in hypocrisy statement, Hippocratic statements, and you're over talking the ones that are actually in a position to teach you something. Now, if they were talking about law, maybe you could teach them. But since they're talking about the indigenous to this land rights, land grabs, land was thrown under the Indian Removal Act. My tribe's land was thrown under the Indian Removal Act. That's how my people got to Texas, to the town that they have in Texas. And it was a fight to go with it. So it's like, it's crazy. It's crazy how ignorant he is and how he is not willing to listen, learn, or be an open-minded thinker. And these are things that are required of you to be a judge. Because you have to listen to how the defense and the prosecutor are all... I thought Spelman was off the list. Oh, Spelman is off the list. Okay. Yes, you're correct. We're trying to put together a college tour. Excuse me. Right. I'm flabbergasted. And that's my reaction. I'm speechless. And y'all know it take a lot to get me to be quiet. Apparently Judge Joe Brown got the juice. Okay, let's go. You can see the frustration in her eyes. Come on, Dane.
Something that retards their progress. It may be something that inspires their progress.
Has anyone threatened your life? Not to tell us the truth, sir.
Has anyone threatened my life? Often. Has anyone tried to take it a few times? Were they successful? No.
I get that. So many of our men in your position have been threatened not to tell us the truth.
That's life. It's dangerous being alive on the planet Earth.
I don't like that either. I think that's wrong to threaten.
I said it's dangerous being alive on the planet Earth. It's called adversity. Life without adversity is kind of dull. And we've dealt with adversity. Let's go back to Africa, the Serengeti area. Everybody on the planet is descended from somebody that came out of Africa. Everybody.
I didn't.
Now, what happens is that they...
Okay, so now you have to go back and look at my video, Black Men Are Committing Genocide Against Themselves. And you can also look at the video that I was telling Sean King to go look at, where I was telling him to go look at the You Are Indigenous, Not African video prior to this conversation. Because I talk about how the difference between immigrating and emigrating with the E. I talk about the difference between I talk about migration, and I also talk about the fact that if we're all from that one Eve gene, we're all from mitochondrial DNA, and we're all from Africa, then why don't white people call themselves Euro-African Americans, or Euro-Africans, or Euro-Irish, or you see what I'm saying? I mean an Afro-Irish, or you know what I'm saying? Why everybody should have an afro in front of their name, but you want to know why? Because number one, that landmass is not called Africa. That's from superior Afrikaners who conquered one little part of Africa and said, oh, this is Africa. And they just took it through the whole shit. All up and down the Ivory Coast. There's places, I'm stuttering because I'm really a little aggravated. There's places inside the mainland, I'm saying that for lack of a better term, the mainland, the innermost countries of Africa that do not refer themselves as Africa. You see what I'm saying? The Ivory Coast and North Africa. Basically all the coastal plains of Africa will call themselves Africa, because when we got jumped by Europeans, by the Grecians, by the Phoenicians, by the who was Napoleon in them? Is them Dutch? By the Deutsch. No, Napoleon is French, right? by France, when we got by Mussolini and Leopold, when we got jumped by all of them, it was at the same time. It wasn't one after the other. It wasn't like how they put it in chronological order. No, it was concurrent. We was jumped. Okay. Let's go.
We had adversity in the extreme down on the Serengeti. They call it currently Simba. But the way they dealt with it is 14, 13-year-old boys with a wooden spear, no iron head on it, have to go kill a Simba before they get inducted into manhood. That's how you deal with adversity.
Africans have a white status. You don't. When they get here, you do know that they select white on their race, correct?
They what?
They select white as their race when they get here. And all those Mexicans coming across the border, guess what? They're all going to select white too.
I am privileged to be acquainted with their royal highnesses, the heir apparent to the Swaziland and Zulu thrones, and also his brother, who will be the High Prince.
And not the Negroes here on the...
And we've had long conversation, and they appear to be young men who are on the way to doing great things. Proud to have met them.
So, us Negroes... Oh,
Sister Bethy, let me ask you, can you push your 48-volt button in for me, please, to make sure it's green?
I don't know what that is.
It's the one where your microphone cord is going to, because your microphone is not fully up. Like it sounds like its power is not there.
Is this better?
Much better.
I don't know what's.
It would say 48V.
Maybe because she was close.
You would have to press that button and it would turn green immediately.
Yeah, I got that. It's green. I'll turn it off and turn it back on. It's on.
See?
It's on?
Yeah. 48V.
Okay, that sound a little bit better.
Sound louder.
That's it. There it is.
Yeah, that's
it. Sound much louder. I can hear you much better. Now, ma'am, I'm not getting on your beliefs. You're entitled to believe whatever in the world you want to believe. All I'm about is joke.
But it's not a belief. And then you can't run, because he's running for office somewhere, but you can't run for office on the platform that you're going to do better for the people when you don't even know how to. When you're leading us to this same African-American nightmare as the previous people that we voted for who thought they had some motherfucking sense. Joe? And I believe he's running for some office somewhere down in Florida or something. We'll have to find out what he's running for while we listening. It's not a belief, it's a fact. It's not he just relegated all those facts that she spewed off to him and then just said, oh, well, if you want to believe you're Indian, then go ahead and believe it. I met the Zulus and all them back over there in Africa. What the fuck they got to do here?
Joe Brown, Judge Joe Brown, Dr. Brown, whatever.
I get that, Judge Joe Brown.
Joe, now, I am about action and getting black folk beyond their current state.
Is it fair to say that my aunt that's alive, my grandmother's sister, who happens to be on the Dawes Rolls, is not of Indian descent, North American Indian descent, and all
it doesn't make any difference.
Okay.
I claim Choctaw as a family ancestral circumstance.
That's fine, sir. I'm Cherokee and Creek.
Now,
however, I have all my documents. So you're saying to me that I should throw all my federal documents regarding my history and my race away, that it doesn't matter that I'm aboriginal to this landmass? Are you telling me?
Well, but I'm just saying, in my perspective and what I'm trying to do, that doesn't have any impact on the objectives that I'm trying to push.
You have a bunch of Negroes running around here, really honestly thinking that they're from Africa and they're not.
Well,
that's the problem.
That's a matter of opinion.
It's painful, but it also gives them integrity because they know now that they've been standing on their homeland the whole time. Do you know what relief it gave
There are
me?
54 sovereign nations on the African continent.
Okay.
Picking
Because
one
you're
is a
up in
difficult
there-
proposition
you're up
if we
in there
want
in
to
that
pick with
world,
accuracy.
You're up there in that world, sir, but you'll never feel what I felt.
I don't need to. I am motivated to do something about the black condition. In other words, black people need to move on from their current circumstances.
Okay, forgive how I look. I just put some oil on my edges. I'm was in there making some products. Okay, yeah, it's not too bad. So, and then he said that, how many sovereign nations in Africa? Let me tell y'all something about Africa. Whenever they offer you to come back to Africa for dual citizenship or for citizenship, don't go, because Africa is ran by white supremacy, just like America is. And the white folk in Africa said, "Hey, tell these niggas over here that they from Africa, so they ain't gonna come over there because you got Africa on lock." And we still trying to get this land on lock because they wake up and sleep. They wake up and sleep over here, so we never know what's gonna happen, and we can't have them giving us hell like they did in the 1800s and then in the 1900s. Hello. Yeah. We gonna go out tonight, or we gonna eat it right now? Can we do both? What time is it? Okay. Okay, really busy. I guess I take myself some. Yeah, I'm going. Okay, guys. Oh man, I thought he was playing. Okay, I'm solo for lunch. We have to go out tonight. So I'm going to.
It's the best feeling that
I believe. I wish I had my timestamps.
To learn that
good for you.
Is my soil. That's all.
You see, I have sarcastic. Good for you. But just imagine if everybody here that's indigenous to this land knew they were indigenous to this land. It would be good for us all. It would create a different mentality all together. And this is why black men are in the mental state that they are, most of them. This is why, as a collective, they don't build and don't own land or nothing, because they don't even identify as being able to do that. They don't identify as ancestors who owned this whole Turtle Island. And, you know, if we're going to say ownership, for lack of a better term, but who had this whole Turtle Island to themselves, who allowed white people to ingratiate themselves in our culture. They don't understand that there was a great war, a great battle that was lost, and a con that was put in to play. You know what I mean? If they understood the truth, you know what I mean? You know better, you do better. It's automatic. It's been proven. You know? It's been proven. That's a proven theory. Nature versus nurture. We still live in the sea. We're going to launch in the next 15 minutes. I'm taking my laptop with me, and we'll pick up part 2.
I'm glad it does.
It made me care. You know what else it made me do? It made me get the hell out of that Democratic Party. Wow!
Good for you.
That was the best thing I could do.
Just get out of that Democratic Party.
But the man told the truth. They don't look like Indians to me. They don't look like Indians to Indians. And all the Indians are laughing. I love that man.
So here's my question. So now you're saying that you're Choctaw, and
y'all remember when I fucking love Trump. Y'all remember when he told that white bitch, "You ain't no damn Indian." He didn't say damn. I'm paraphrasing, but he said, "Let me do my hair over." Now, if my hair was orange, let me get something orange. Let me get my little orange bang. That's my Trump bang. I mean, it be curved over in his face, then be swooped to the side. Hold on. We gotta curve it. We gotta have that super fit. My back, my side. Yeah. Y'all remember he told that white girl, you ain't no damn Indian. I tell you, and he started saying, all right, Pocahontas. All right, Pocahontas. I tell you what, if you take a DNA test right now, I donate $1 million to the charity of your choice for you to embezzle. That bitch will take that DNA test, call herself the goddamn chief of the Cherokees, and the bitch live in Ireland. The fuck out of here. Her home is in Ireland, her people from Ireland, but you letting them tell you who the fuck you is and be the chiefs over your tribes? Yeah, alright. And this motherfucker said don't make a difference. If it didn't make a difference, it will be conning us and lying to us now. Obviously it make a difference.
That's what your grandmother and your great grandmother pronounced themselves. Did they ever call themselves black?
Okay.
Well, I'm black too.
No, I mean, did they ever call themselves black?
Yes.
He a goddamn
liar. My grandfather was very dark. He and one of his brothers, a great uncle of mine, murdered 2 white.
He didn't ask you were they black. He said that they refer to themselves as black. That they call themselves black is his question. You said this nigga not even listening? You see that? That's what he asking. This is what he's saying. Did they call themselves black? That was a piece of herb right there. Baby, I don't throw nothing away. It like something on my cheek, but it's really dust on my screen. It look like it to me, not to y'all.
Deputy sheriffs because they suspected them of participating in the lynching of another brother.
But you know that has nothing to do with your skin complexion.
That decapitated his master and went
off nothing to do with your race.
But you know that has nothing to do with your skin complexion. Like when a person says black, what are they referring to? Are they referring to their skin complexion?
It's a state of mind. It is a generic category that deals with an ethnic identity. It bespeaks cultural antecedents, shared experiences in this country.
See how he just talking in fucking circles and ain't answered the fucking question. That's why they're saying, We hear the bullshit. He talking like a fucking politician. And not a grassroots politician. I keep in whitewashing condition. Y'all be damn fool y'all vote for him for whatever the fuck he running for.
And an ancestor.
And it wasn't being used during your grandmother's time.
Is African.
It was that terminology wasn't being used during your grandmother's time. So how was she calling herself black? So you just contradicted yourself.
Excuse me.
I mean, you just contradicted yourself.
See, he's saying they were black. He said, what did they call themselves? What did they? If they were Chickasaw, they were not calling themselves black.
At the time was colored.
One of
my great-grandmother that it got from, she was not that. She was 100% Choctaw. But she was allied with the colored folk, and she wound up donating 1/3 of the land that Dane College up in Jackson, Tennessee is built on today.
So now you're saying there's a difference between colored folk and Indian folk.
It's just what to succeed. Hey, man, dude, what's happening? Homing, homes, it all refers to the same thing. It's a different word, but it's the same concept.
So why promote something that we didn't call ourselves?
We did.
No.
We called ourselves that terminology?
1965, we were insisting that we be called black.
He's talking about your grandmother and them, though.
We decided we wanted to be Afro-American about 2 years later. Mainstream media caught us with that. Then we went back to black.
But before the 60s, what were we calling ourselves?
We picked it. Young black folk in college, on the streets, in the community.
I agree.
We picked
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm not disagreeing with that. I said prior to that, what were we calling ourselves?
Well, my father and mother's generation, they decided they wanted to be called Negroes again.
Interesting. So
see,
you mean to tell me that they
what
will be
was referred to when the Spanish were bringing importations from Africa.
Negrito,
Walter
not
Riley
Negro.
and a few other ones.
I'm familiar with that.
Of Queen
Negrito.
Elizabeth. They were pirating.
It was a Spanish
and they were
word.
seizing shiploads of the transportees, and they were selling them for reduced prices.
So you're saying that by word of mouth they were saying that, not what was written?
Negroes.
By word of mouth, that's what they were saying.
Yeah, well, that's what they listed them in their advertisements.
And
written copies still exist. So it doesn't make any difference. The Romans had a word for it too.
Okay, what you're saying is that it doesn't make any difference what the government decides to call us.
Not the government, what the people call you.
What people? Because you said that they were doing it by word of mouth.
The culture. What people call each other and call their opponents or those they don't like. It's xenophobia. It's an ancient human characteristic.
And you said that your grandparents went through that.
For the different.
Your grandparents went through that?
What?
This same xenophobia that you just described.
Every human suffers from xenophobia. It's a human characteristic. Some of us overcome it.
Can you prove that?
No, you just have to be aware of it. Sometimes the self-experience is very illustrative of the point.
Okay. There's a few things that you mentioned where you contradicted yourself.
How? I didn't contradict
I'm about to explain it. I'm about to explain it.
You just didn't understand
it. That's not that. I do understand.
You just didn't understand it.
1 second. I do understand. Because if I
don't understand it, son.
1 second. Hold on 1 second.
Now you see it's about to go left. Okay. So it's about to go left. Y'all, we at 1 hour, 8 minutes. This is blaquespan. I'm gonna get ready to do part 2 because I wanna go back to when Dane caught him up in his contradictory 4 minutes ago. And I want to talk about that, and then we're going to press forward. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pack up my laptop and everything, because I'm going to go to a local restaurant and eat while we're going over this material. So let me Google right quick. What if they don't have it? Okay, so I'm going to have to leave you guys here. I'm going to go eat. I'll be back. This is blaquespan. I love you guys. And look, don't just wait on my reaction. Y'all can go watch it without me and still watch me chew that ass up. You know what I'm saying? When I get back. You know what I mean? Because I still want you to subscribe to both these guys' channels. To Dane and to Chief Bethy. And unsubscribe to Joe. Okay, was that petty? Okay, that was petty. I'm a petticorn. All right, love you guys. I have to take myself out to eat before my daughter gets out of school, or she's going to go. Okay, deuces. And this one. All right, love you guys. I'll see you when I get back from lunch.